Super Earth Mama in the his-ow. Actually, Super Earth Mama in her orifice-ow. Office. I just like to say orifice. Because it's funny. Beautiful souls, welcome to my world. This is my office. And it's where I feel like I can talk to you guys so easily. And today I want to talk to you about the origin of illness, the displacement of the soul, to be very specific. Native Americans believe that when someone is ill and they're not responding to herbal remedies, the medicine man, woman, they're not responding to outward support, that they need to call their soul back to them because their soul has become fragmented by incident. Either it was one thing that happened or it was a lifetime of stress and not processing necessary emotions in order to move forward. Now that's something that I believe. When I heal someone, when I talk to someone about their issues, I don't ask them what's wrong with them. That's the thing that modern doctors do. You sit in their office and you tell them what's wrong. I want to know about the emotional side of things because that is the root of all displacement, imbalance, issues within the body. It is a manifestation of the emotions that we have not allowed ourselves to process. The subconscious is a powerful thing. And when we are in symbiosis with our subconscious and we're either meditating or doing some sort of meditative practice, for me, it's yoga, it's reading, it's getting fresh air, it's journaling, and it's working and healing with people. But if I am not taking care of myself and I am out of balance, things will happen to me physically. And a good example of that is last week I was traveling and it wasn't a vacation. We were visiting family in Maryland and I was away from my kitchen. My dog was very sick and thankfully he's fine now, but I didn't have my medicine cabinet to take care of him. I didn't have my kitchen to cook for my family, so we were eating on the road, and I can't begin to tell you how awful commercial food is in restaurants, but we'll get into that in another video. My bonus daughter is now a teenager. It was her birthday. I have to accept that she's going through a process where she believes that she has all the answers, and that's okay. You know, I was once a teenager too, and I'm sure I told my mother or any person with any knowledge of life that they didn't know what they were talking about or that I didn't care. And I have to let that go because I can tell her till I'm blue in the face what's going to help her. And I can do that with my relatives too, who also looked at me like I was the woo-woo wife, which I am, you know. I think the world needs woo-woo. I think we need woo-woo because Native Americans understand that in order to be in balance with your life and the world, you have to be in communication with nature. You have to utilize all the gifts that Spirit, that's what I call God, has given us. There's a story of a Native American tribe. One of their tribesmen left for 20 some odd years to get away from the tribe, and he ended up joining the army, and he was a prisoner of war. And what he went through was some of the worst torture a person can experience. At the end of his tour of duty, he went back home because he had nowhere to go. When he was received by the tribe, they allowed him to share his story twice. The first time, they stood around him in a circle and listened intently. The second time, they turned their backs. And then he still was not able to walk. So they picked him up and they threw him in the water and said, "It's time for you to call your soul back." And miraculously, this man, after much struggling in the water, fighting. I can't do this. I can't use my legs. Finally, he was ready to submit to the universe. He was finally ready to face everything that he'd been through. And in his struggle, realized that he had to release the fear of what could happen in the water. He could float if he wanted to. But no, he was ready to stand. He was ready to get his legs back, and he called his spirit back to him. He said, Spirit, I am now ready to be a part of this world again. Yes, I have been brutalized and beaten down by it, but I know that I can be a part of this world again, and I can bring my experience, strength, and hope to the world and share my story, and my story can be what heals other people who have been through so much. Our pain becomes our strength. He stood and he walked out of the water and reassimilated with the tribe. That's actually a true story. And I read it in a book, The Anatomy of the Spirit. It's an amazing book. If you haven't read it before, you should. This is one of the stories that woke me up to the fact that, yes, there are people who are unfortunately placed in this life with so many lessons to learn. I believe that the good and the bad are the lessons and the blessings. And some of us have a lot of lessons. My mother was definitely a person that had a lot of lessons, but she was not ready to learn that in this life. But it doesn't have to be the same for you. You could find a way to heal, and your first step is to ask yourself, what is out of balance within your soul? The origin of when the fragmentation occurred isn't as important as processing that emotion that you haven't allowed yourself to feel, because in many ways it can overwhelm you. So last week, with everything that happened, I was a little bit like this. Emotionally speaking. I was just thinking, I just want to get home and then I'll be able to process everything. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I do that sometimes. I know better. And then I woke up and I could barely move my neck. Being able to see the world from all angles, spiritually speaking, allows us to feel like we can be in control of our surroundings and how we approach those surroundings. Not being able to move my neck was a clear manifestation of my sense of power that was lost. I felt that I was not being received by the people I loved, that my help, my support. As a healer, it was very hard. But at the same time, I have to make sure that I am constantly in a healing practice of my own. So, what did I do for this extreme pain? Well, I bitched a little bit. That's okay. It's okay to bitch. But the important thing is we don't stay there. I started doing yoga. I started doing stretches, simple movements. I'm not saying, start doing downward dog, but it hurt. It was excruciating. But I've practiced what I know. I know that heat therapy works. I know that it doesn't work right away. Holistic remedies are not the quick fix that people want. It's not going to numb you out like most pharmaceuticals, but it's going to heal you and your spirit in unison, which is really what we need. We need to reconnect the spirit with the body. And so by realigning myself with my body and my power and with nature, I started to feel like I could move my neck. I did more yoga. I did frequency healing. It's something that I do with my clients. I cried. That was the biggest one. It wasn't until I cried and realized that there was a part of me that was reliving not being able to help my mother all those years ago. There was a part of me that was reliving the sense of powerlessness, watching somebody you love go down a path that you can't save them from. And it was hard, but I cannot save anyone but myself. And that is my lesson in this life. I lost my sister. I lost my mother, the two people that were the most important to me. But after losing my sister, I met my husband. 2 days after losing my mother, I found out I was pregnant. Transformation can occur if we allow it to. Our lives can manifest beautiful, wondrous things that we couldn't even fathom when we're sitting in the darkness. We have to look into the light. We have to look into hope. And we have to start manifesting ourselves in our healthiest form. Start imagining. That's the other thing I did, is I imagined myself running. I imagined myself jumping with my child and playing with her in the sand back home. And it was in the future. I was in no pain. So imagine yourself in no pain, because the brain does not know the difference between what is real and what's imagined. And that is something that you can utilize. This is scientifically backed. Look up Dr. Joe Dispenza. Ah, love that man. It can also work against you. If you stay in the past too much, it can pull you back. It can keep you sick. It can make you get worse. There's so many people living in fear right now, and they're allowing themselves to slowly get sick because stress is the precursor to all disease. And stress is emotions that have not been processed. Stress is that ocean slowly beginning to rise, and we're no longer able to tread water in it anymore because a storm comes. I don't know about you, but I would love to be like a mermaid and swim beautifully in the ocean and not worry about a thing. Obviously, this is a cartoon mermaid and a cartoon ocean, because in real life, you have to worry about sharks and other things. But sometimes that's my happy place. Sometimes I am a cartoon mermaid swimming in a cartoon ocean with my cartoon friends. And I can just swim away from my troubles. And that's okay too, but we have to process everything. Otherwise, we can't move forward. Otherwise, we're living in a dreamland and we disconnect too much. We need to stop disconnecting from our pain, our emotional pain. And we need to have faith that any physical pain that we have, any illnesses that we have, can be remedied if we take care of ourselves first. So, this is a lot of woo-woo. And a lot of it is, I also studied science, so a lot of it is backed by science as well, but we need more woo-woo. If you want to heal, invite the woo-woo. Invite nature into your life to heal you, be it with herbs, meditation, yoga, grounding, going to a body of water, just imagining yourself in nature, wherever you are. If you aren't able to get to nature, that's okay. You can manifest it around you with plants. These are my little buddies. Because sometimes I am stuck in my office quite a bit, and I need to be reminded of life. And this is creation, this is life. Plants are our allies. They are our spiritual allies, just waiting for us to honor them and to take care of them and to nurture them, just like we need to do for ourselves. So let's everybody make like a tree, a beautiful money tree, and take care of ourselves and take in the sun, take in the light, take in all the joy around you. I wish you all healthy, happy, healing lives. It starts with you. You can embrace the superpower within and heal yourself simply by processing those emotions that you have not allowed yourself to process. It's a journey, and you can start today. Namaste.